Hi everybody, it's Ryan from Ryviews.com, and today I'm reviewing Kick the Critter by Berserk Studio. Berserk Studio has done several high-quality games, including The Peacekeeper, Mechanical Commando, and Berserk Ball 2, and King's Rider, which I've previously reviewed, and you can find a link to in the description of the video. High-quality studio. I had pretty high expectations for the game. I've liked most of their games in the past, and this game delivers pretty well. It's a launch title where you're sending this little creature across the fields and eventually across the water to try to catch up to Noah's Ark because he was left behind. So along the way you pass by other kind of mythical creatures and so forth. It's a pretty cool little concept. As far as the actual execution of the launch, it's a pretty cool title where you're able to shoot forward on the screen. You don't really have lots of control as far as up and down, left to right or whatever, but you do have that little action where you click and you shoot forward, trying to hit either whether it be like a bouncer or certain money. So that was nice and gave you a small amount of control. And then as you upgrade your kicking mechanism, you're able to have these little boosts which will kick you when you're close to the ground and give you some extra oomph. In general, though, the level of control is fairly low. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean that, so for better or worse, towards the end of the game, I was just kind of kicking it and letting it run itself so I could grind without paying attention. I have mixed feelings about that because obviously it helped me grind and it helped me get, advance in the game, but then I wasn't really playing it anymore. But then I didn't have to do that, So that kind of thing I have mixed feelings about because whenever you're able to basically play a game without being active, I feel like that's kind of it's a bit of a bad thing. I don't know. It's hard to describe. The upgrade system is pretty cool. You have kicker upgrades and you have critter upgrades where you're upgrading the either the power or the density of things you encounter. As well as some passive upgrades that make you bounce higher off the ground, stuff like that. And there are also mini-games, which involve you catching some falling critters, giving you bouncing, and there's also a flappy critter game, which is just like it sounds. It's a flappy bird with one of the little purple flying guys in the game. In general, there was quite a bit to do. I was happy with the upgrades. I was happy with the level of grinding I had to do. Like I said, towards the end, the grinding got a little tough, but because of the mini-games, because of the fact that there were big kicker upgrades and smaller upgrades to each kicker, that helped kind of lay off the grinding requirement. It helped me kind of almost every time I finished, I had something to do. There were a few times when I had to run through a launch 3 or 4 times before I got an upgrade if I had a poor launch. But in general, I did pretty well. And then the mini games had good rewards. I did like that you collect money as you're flying through, but then the distance you make also gives you quite a bit of money. So it was a good way to ramp up the money earnings as you advance farther. So that helped with the grinding. In general, it was a fun game, but I certainly think, it could have been improved with a little better control scheme, and it could have been a little better if they explained some of the actions a little more. For example, lots of the critters, I didn't really know what they did until I kind of read all the descriptions. And for the most part, for the upgrades, I feel like lots of them increase the power, but they didn't increase how often you see them. And most launch games, to their credit, I think usually have a way to increase the number of times you see something rather than just increasing the power. So I think that was kind of a missed opportunity there. But in general, high quality game. As far as the actual controls, I don't really have any complaints. I just wish there was more ability to control them as you're flying around. The music and sound effects were cool. I frequently turned them off because they were very kind of in your face. But otherwise, it was a nice touch. This game is also on Android and iOS too, which is nice. But of course, this is the review of the Flash version. That's the only one I've played. For the scorecard, I'd give it a time value of about 8. Like I said, it's not super long, but towards the end it got pretty grindy sometimes. And like I said, I just pressed play and let it run. So that docked it a bit. In general, it was a pretty solid game. Money value of 10. There's no freemium or anything. Originality of 7. It's similar to lots of launch games I've found, but I enjoyed the upgrade system. It was innovative. I enjoyed the critter system that had lots of variety in the upgrades you could choose. And as you were launching, it was pretty fun to watch all the different animations. It was pretty cool, so originality is pretty high. Replayability of 8. Once again, I would have liked more control, but the controls themselves that were there were very strong and very good. I would have liked a little more description, for example, on the smash, which is that little kick from the ground. I didn't know it was just from the ground to begin with, so I would have liked some more upfront description with that. And then fulfillment of about 7, mostly because I think that the game itself would have been a little better without the grinding, and it would, like I said, making enemies more likely to appear, some things like that. But in general, it was a pretty fulfilling game. I enjoyed playing it. I liked the ending. There were little like chests that were kind of like not necessarily boss battles, but you hit them to get, release their earnings, and at the end you end up fighting Noah's Ark. So that's pretty exciting. It's pretty cool. So fulfillment is high. That gives a grand total of 8.0. Thanks for watching, everybody. Visit www.ryviews.com for more content, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.